So as you and I have talked about yesterday in Iowa, you spoke with some of our volunteers at Cornell College, and you said that you were really worried about the threat of pandemics and
Yes.
cyber attacks.
Wow,
And
word travels fast. Yes.
and so much of our funds right now are being used kind of maintaining our massive nuclear arsenal here in the United
Right.
States. So I'm curious, as president, what you'll do to reprioritize our defense spending so
Yeah.
it will be able to accurately address modern day defense issues like
Yeah.
pandemics and cyber attacks.
I think this is a really central question because even now, if you look at it, if you're aware of this, we've gone through the process where the Congress has once again put together a defense authorization bill, but the president is saying he'll veto it, because it doesn't. He's not. It doesn't. He wants more domestic spending to go if they're going to break the budget, the sequester cap. But subsumed in that conversation, the defense secretary has also talked about working with the Congress and being able to overcome what are the parochial interests. The Congress keeps many weapons systems alive beyond their best use by date, or whatever you want to call it, the equivalent. I do think that we are inadequately responding to some of the real challenges, and they need to be looked at. When we had a conversation when we created the Homeland Security Department about what you put in there and what you don't put in there. And all you got to do is look at the Ebola mess. I mean, Ebola as a disease was not something that was going to have a major impact in this country, but it sure was scary. And it showed how incoherent our preparations are. So I think that this is an area that you need to look at it within HHS. You need to look at the technology. You talked about the military piece, Homeland Security. You need to have cross-cutting efforts, and you need to get the Congress to somehow stand up and reorganize. One of the problems that happened with the Homeland Security Department was we created it, and Congress didn't change anything. So they have 88 committees and subcommittees that have some sort of jurisdiction over the department. Makes it very difficult to sit down and do just what you're saying. And obviously, the question in your particular lane, you need to take a look at the nuclear weapons, try to draw that down. A point that I made yesterday, I'll make again here. It goes to the constitutional governance piece. I don't like the Iranian agreement. I think it's reckless to do a deal with an adversary that has a stated objective of getting rid of Israel. I just think that's very dangerous. You can already see the Iranians are being more ambitious in terms of their use of force now since the agreement's been concluded. But I am totally aghast that the Republican Congress enabled, instead of that being treated as a treaty, enabled the president to just treat it as an agreement, whereby all he needed under law that the Republicans put through was 1/3 of one of the two chambers of Congress. So part of this is, I told you I was in meetings with Reagan when we were dealing. People were prepared to have a war with the Soviet Union. It was less likely than was the case back in the Cuban Missile Crisis or other periods of time, but they were still prepared. We were talking about, I remember being in a briefing with Bernie Rogers, who was a NATO commander, and this is the time when the missiles were being deployed in Western Europe and the Western Alliance with Thatcher, Kohl, even the Holy Father participating, where there was a real firm response to the Soviet Union. But still, President Reagan, as you know, he concluded agreements to bring down the number of missiles, but all of those were treaties. All of those were treaties that required Senate ratification. So whatever issue we look at, the executive branch can lead, but you should be pressing not just the people who are going to be in the executive branch, but play a role in the congressional elections too, because
Yep.
they're not dealing with these issues. But they're not. But I worry about the pandemics, and you don't. A day doesn't go by when you don't have an impact on the cyber stuff. There's something very dangerous happening. So these are issues we need to get our arms around. Other questions? Yes, sir.
What's your